for $3,500, it'll end up being $7,000, which is what I need to buy the final piece of equipment, which is a generator. So, are you in Seattle or are you not in Seattle? All right. Well, I'm in the temple right now. I'm giving a class from the Isopanisad. If you want to come and pick up the check, so you can put it in right away, and it will be matched by Mike. So. Okay, thank you. Om Purnam Ada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. Ishavaishyam idam sarvam jatkinja jagatyam jagat tena tak tena bunjitaha magridaha kashasviddanam. Kurvani vaha karmani jajiva chekchatam samaha evam tvayi nanyate tostina karma lipyate nare. Asurya namate loka andena tamasavritaha tamste pritya vigachanti yeke chatmahano janaha. Anejadika manaso javiyo nena devam apurvam purvam asat tadavato jnanateti tistat tasmin apumata visvadadati. Tadejati tanejati tandure tadvantike tadantarasya sarvasya tadu sarvasya syabhayataha. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmani evanupasyati sarvabhute suchatmanam tato na vijagupsate. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmeva budvijanataha tatra ko mahakaha soka ekatvam anupasyataha. Saprayagachukam avrinam asnaviram sudamapapavidam kavir manisi paribu swayambhu yata tat yutorutan vyadadat chasvatipyaha samabhyaha. Aviram sudamapapavidam kavir manisi paribu swayambhu yata tat yutorutan vyadadat chasvatipyaha samabhyaha. Andam tamaha pravisanti ye vidyam upasyate tato bhuyayvate tamo yayu vidyayam rataha. Tamahas pravisanti ye vidyam upasyate tato bhuyayvate tamo. Anyad evahur vidyaya anyadahur vidyaya iti susrumadhiranam yenastad vichachakshire. Vidyam cha yas yastad vidubhayam saha vidyaya miritum titva vidyayam ritamasnute. Andham tamaha pravisanti ye sambhutim upasyate tato bhuyayvate tamo yayu sambhutam rataha. Anyadevahur sambhavat anyadahur sambhavat iti susrumadhiranam yenastad vichachakshire. That's it. I think in the previous verse, no, before that, yeah, and then before that, next one up. So it says Anyad Evahur Vidyahat, Nyad Ahura Vidya. It should be Anyad Ahura Vidyaha. Yeah. Just like in the, if you go down now to the one we're on, 13, you say, Anyad Evahur Sambhavat, Anyad Ahura Sambhavat. Some type of little mistake happened there, I think. Huh? So is it right? Nyad? No, it's not right. It's anyat. Both times it's anyat. There's some mistake. Oh, maybe, but it's difficult to pronounce. It's much easier to pronounce anyat both times. Okay. Sambhutim cha vinasam cha yastad vedo bayam saha vinasena militum titva sambhutam ritam asnute. Hiranmayana patrena satyasya pihitam mukam tatvam pusam apavrinu satyadharma yadristaye. Pusanika seyama surya prajapatya vyuha rasmin samahatejo yatte rupam kalyanatamam tate pasyami yo savaso purushaha sohamasmi. Yo savaso purushaha sohamasmi. Vayuranilam amritam atedam basmantam sariram om kratos smara kritam smara kratos smara kritam smara. Om Agnenaya Supataraya Sman Vishwani Deva Vayunani Vidyan Yodajma Chuhurana Meno Buyistam Tenama Uktim Vedema Om Tat Sat. Om Purnam Ada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. Okay, so now today we're reading Mantra 10. I'll ask a few questions from yesterday's mantra, 9. First of all, those who engage in a culture of nescient activities, nescient means ignorance, ignorant activities, shall enter into the darkest region of ignorance. Worse still are those engaged in a culture of so-called knowledge. So, can anyone explain? We understand what nescient activities are, ignorant activities. What are the ignorant activities? Well, it's referring to specifically here engaging in religious rituals for sense gratification, specifically. Of course, what you said is true, meat eating, illicit sex, gambling, and so forth. But is referring to engaging in religious ritual activities in order to improve sense gratification, which is not the purpose of religious ritual activities. Of course, it's a side, let's say, perk or benefit for materially interested people, but that's not the purpose. Okay. Now, why does he say worse still? I mean, it says they go to the darkest region of ignorance, right? And why does he say worse than that are those who are cultivating so-called knowledge? Who is he talking about here? Come on. Go ahead. Veda Vada Rata.
Who take the principles said in Veda as like twist them for their own benefit or sense gratification and call themselves as God or something.
Yes, they're also interested in sense gratification, but they twist the Vedic knowledge and purport that that's the purpose of it, right? The Vedavadaratas are also described in Bhagavad Gita, and they are people who well, as you said, they misconstrue the Vedic knowledge purposely. It says here, Vedavadaratas give their own explanation of the Vedas, neglecting the authority of great teachers. They also tend to raise some unscrupulous person from among themselves and present him as the leading exponent of Vedic knowledge. So what you said was exactly right. You got it exactly right. Okay. They're not at all interested in the personality and Godhead. On the contrary, they are fascinated by such fruitive results as the attainment of heaven. So they're mistaken, mundane educators. And they also may be atheistic demons, considered the lowest of men. They're very learned in Vedic literature, but unfortunately they are completely diverted from the purpose of the Vedas. And the purpose of the Vedas is explained in chapter 15, verse 15 of Bhagavad Gita. Sarvasya chaham hridi sanivisto matak smitir jnanam apahanam cha vedaischa sarvir aham eva vedya vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. So when it says vedaischa sarvir aham eva vedya, Krishna says, and I am to be known through all the Vedas. So Krishna is the goal of all Vedic knowledge. But the Vedavadaratas, they purposely misconstrue. Actually, the word is obfuscate. It's a very good word to know, obfuscate. They confuse people and misdirect them. Obfuscate, O-B. Yeah, you can look it up. It's a good word to know. Divert the attention of people to something that's not true. Okay, then the advancement of learning by godless people is as dangerous as a valuable jewel on the hood of a cobra. What does this example purport to say? A valuable jewel on the head of a cobra, compared to the advancement of learning by godless people. Come on, anybody? Go ahead.
If you try to befriend cobra, you will bite you.
Well, why would you want to befriend a cobra?
Just to take a gem from him.
No. You want to get the jewel. Yeah. So let's analyze this example. It's talking about the jewel on the head of a cobra. You might be tempted to try and grab. Yes.
So, I didn't attend the lecture, but the jewel is very important, so people go and want to get a jewel, but it's very dangerous for them. Similarly, if the people who are educated, they know Vedas, then they can twist and people will go to them for knowledge and they can totally change the meaning and mislead them because they have the knowledge.
Well, the advancement of learning. Okay, let me give you an example. Let's say you have a smartphone, which I call a dummy phone, right? Now, who is the most fascinated by the smartphone? Well, so many people. Exactly. The ones that are most attracted to the smartphone are 2, 3, 4-year-old kids. Now, what happens if like this morning in Mangalarti, we have our Madhava Gauranga Prabhu has 2 little boys, right? They're how old are they? They're hardly 2 years old, right? Yeah. So, one of them had a small cell phone, right? And he doesn't know how to use it. So he knows that if you press on the window, right, some lights come on. And then you press it and the lights go off. And you press it, the lights come on, right? So that's all he knows how to do so far, right? So then one of the, one of your kids showed him how to do a little bit more with it, right? And then he was very fascinated because, he's trying to figure out how she was doing those things. So he was trying to figure out how to do it. But then, see, he's also handled his father's, real smartphone. This was a small version. So then at one point he wanted to get his father's smartphone. He was trying to take it out of his pocket and he couldn't get it out. His father wouldn't let him touch it, because, so he got so angry. He grabbed the other phone and started running around, and then he threw the phone. The other one, the little phone, right? Because he didn't want that. He wanted the big one. You see? And then he started banging on the wall. I mean, he went crazy because he wanted that phone. He was crying. You see? You see how dangerous these instruments are? So I told the father, I said, don't ever buy him a video game machine. He said, no, I'm not going to. I said, why did you even let him have the phone? He said, shouldn't have done it. You see? And he's only 2 years old, but he can't let go of it. See, before he knew about the smartphone, he was interested in the mridungas. Now he doesn't care about the mridunga. He doesn't care about cartels. He just wants the smartphone. Did you see that this morning? Yeah. That's how dangerous these instruments are. They're instruments of mass distraction. Okay, now I'll tell you a true story. It's something that just happened. One man came to see me with his wife. I've never seen him before, but apparently he told me he comes to the temple every once in a while. He comes and he sees me and he says, I want to have a private talk with you. I said, okay. So we're sitting down in a room. And he said, you're the only person that can help me. I said, look, I don't even know who you are. I don't know what your problem is. Why do you say that? I said, no, I know this. I said, okay. I said, what's your problem? He said, my boy is 13, my older boy, He said, when I grew up, my father was a military man. He wouldn't let me have anything. And then at one point, when I was 16, I did something wrong. He threw me out of the house. And I lived on the streets. But somehow or other, I worked my way up. Now I have a very good job. I have some good education, a nice family. So I didn't want my kids to lack anything. And I've given them everything. So my older boy, he's 13, he said, I'm losing him. I said, what do you mean you're losing him? He said, I'm losing him. in the last 2 months, he doesn't talk to me much anymore. He stays in his room. And I went, he has a computer, he has a smartphone. I gave him everything. Right? But the other day I checked up, what sites he's visiting, and I found out he's going to very bad sites. And apparently he's talking to somebody. He's keeping it a secret who it is. And he said, I can't figure out what's going on. I said, well, you want me to tell you the truth or you want me to lie? He said, no, I want you to tell me the truth. I said, he's met a predator on the phone, through the internet. And now he's in personal contact with him. And the predator has led him to, let's say, unsavory websites to corrupt his mind. And eventually the predator is going to probably send him an airline ticket to fly somewhere in the United States to meet him. I said, you have to go to the police right away and let them begin to communicate with the predator as if they're your son, and they'll catch him. I said, if you don't do that, you're going to lose the boy completely, and no telling what will happen to him. And I said, I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this to tell you the truth. Your son is in extreme danger right now, and you will not be able to deal with it. You have to go to the police right away. He said, well, my wife told me not to go to the police. I said, you're not going to the police to do something against your son. Your son is a victim. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's being influenced by these predators that are all over the internet, and they prey on little kids like this. And I said, it's your fault in a sense. You should never give such powerful instruments to a little kid that's only 13 years old. He doesn't know how to handle it. He doesn't know the dangers that are out there in the cyber world. So I said, you should go immediately to the police and report it. And now I said, you will not be able to talk to your son. He's going to keep it a secret from you, right? So you have to find someone that he trusts, or that he looks up to. He said, well, he has his soccer coach. I said, okay, go talk to the soccer coach. That boy has got to open up to somebody. If he doesn't open up, he's not going to open up to you or your wife, that's for sure. So this is what happens. This is happening every day in this country. Young kids are getting corrupted by predators. I don't know what you mean in the city. The predators are all over the country, and they connect with these kids. And then at one point, they'll send them an airline ticket, and the kid will secretly go take a plane and end up on the other side of the country to meet the predator, and then he's completely under the control of the guy. See? So these things are happening on a regular basis now in the United States, and it's because people think, oh, I don't want my kid to be deprived of anything. They should have everything, the best of everything, the best computer, the best smartphone, the best junk food, the best this junk and that junk, Huh? Of course it's wrong. Of course it's wrong. They think that by lavishing their children with material possessions, then their children will be loyal to them and they'll appreciate it. That's a completely wrong concept. This also happened back in the 1950s. There was a famous psychologist. He said, "Spare the rod and spoil the child." Do you understand what that means in English? It means that don't ever punish the child. No. Don't even show the rod. Just spoil the child. So a whole generation grew up like that, and what happened? Most of them became hippies. They grew up and became hippies, and it caused a major problem in the United States. One of those hippies was voted in as a president, William Jefferson Clinton, and he made a mess of the country, right? Now we have another one of those hippies, President Hussein. These people grew up as hippies. Why? Because the parents spared the rod and spoiled the child. So that's what happens. Kids grow up without no rules. They treat the kid like an adult. Right? You can do whatever you want, be free, be a free spirit. And the kids grow up to be, anti-authoritarian. Huh? Yeah, the spoiled brat. Just like in the news, you have the this one boy, his parents are wealthy, so he killed somebody in an auto accident. He was drunk, he killed somebody, 16 years old, right? So when he came to court, he had this very clever lawyer who said it's he's suffering from a disease, and he gave a name of the disease. The name is affluenza. You ever hear of that disease? You know what it means? No, he said the boy's disease is affluenza. His parents gave him too many things. And that's where he grew up without a sense of responsibility. And he killed somebody. He was drunk and he ran over someone. So then, he's a minor, right? So they couldn't treat him like an adult. Otherwise, they would have charged him with manslaughter and he would have gone to jail, right? So they put him on probation, right? Then they caught him getting drunk. Yeah, his friends and him were drinking, and they put a YouTube video, and the police saw the YouTube video, and they went to arrest him, and the mother ran away with him to Mexico to get away from the police. So they caught them in Mexico, and now the mother is in jail also, or the mother's in trouble with the police. Why? The mother is the facilitator of the so-called affluenza. Affluenza is a complete nonsense concept. The lawyer said, he has a disease, you can't put him in jail, he's suffering from affluenza. It's total nonsense. You're not saving him, you're just enabling him to continue doing nonsense, right? And this is following that 1950s philosophy of spare the rod, spoil the child. It already ruined one whole generation. The 1960s hippies ruined that whole generation, and now they're continuing it. And what? Yeah. Well, we saw it this morning. That little kid threw a tantrum right in the temple, and he threw the little phone that he had, and he started crying because his dad wouldn't give him the big phone. So, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Because there are major misconceptions in society, and the misconception is the danger. People, just like spare the rod, spoil the child. There was a famous book. Thousands and hundreds and thousands of parents read it, and they said, aha, okay, this is the way we're going to raise our kid now. Because some stupid psychologist comes up with this theory, you see. Yeah, of course. Now they have rules. If you spank your kid and the kid complains in school, the police come and arrest you.
But that is only the matter, not somewhere else.
That's what you say. No, that's what you say. You don't know what's happening in India. You're not aware. Okay. So you see, this mantra 8 is very important because it puts the finger on these Vedavadaratas are people who are highly intelligent, highly educated, and they're purposely misleading the people. People look up to them because they have PhDs and they have, important positions in society, like the psychologist, wrote, "Spare the rod, spoil the child," and people base their lives on their phony theories. And because of that, there's another one. There's Stephen Hawkins. He's a complete idiot. They consider him, the modern Einstein. He's a complete idiot, And he's saying all kinds of nonsensical things, and people, listen to him like he's an authority. So these are called Naradamas, the lowest of humanity, not because they're low class. They're well dressed. They live in beautiful houses and apartments. They have very accomplished. They're very accomplished materially. They graduate from Harvard and Yale and Princeton and places like that. They're completely misleading society. Yeah. Yes.
I think they are like hand in hand with the government basically. So whatever the politician or those people want to say, first they made him like okay, he's a big figure, and now whatever they want to say, they say through him.
Well, they are promoting space exploration, which is a complete hoax. It's billions and billions of dollars thrown down the toilet, right? But they keep promising so many things, Oh, we've made so much advancement. We've gone 400. We have a space station 400 miles up in the air. What's 400 miles up in the air? That's not space. That's still the Earth. What kind of exploration is that? So the whole thing is a hoax. But it's an expensive hoax. And as long as you keep feeding the money, they're going to keep spending it. Okay, so there's a lot of things in the Mantra 8. We won't go over all of them right now, but you get the idea. You should at least know what Vedavadarata is. You should know who they're referring to by the persons who are going to the darkest region Mantra 9, the darkest region of ignorance, and then worse still are those engaged in the culture of so-called knowledge. Okay, Mantra 10. Now, Mantra 10 is an important mantra. We'll probably spend some time on this like we did on Mantra 8. Anyad bahur vidyaya. Anyad ahur vidyaya. Iti susrumadiranam yenastad vichachakshire. The wise have explained that one result is derived from the culture of knowledge, and that a different result is obtained from the culture of nescience or ignorance. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. As advised in chapter 13 in the Bhagavad Gita, 13, 8-12, one should culture knowledge in the following way. One should become a perfect gentleman and learn to give proper respect to others. So, this is the first point of education. Now, these are the 18 points of education described in chapter 13, verses 8-12 of the Bhagavad Gita. Amanitvam adamitvam ahimsa santirarjavam. Acharya pasamam sakshat staryam atma vinigraha. Chapter 13, verses 8-12. Indriyate svairagyam anahankara evacha janma mrityu jaravyadi dukkadosana darshanam. So these are very important verses to note. And this is called the process of knowledge. The process of knowledge. There are three subjects explained, three major subjects explained in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. One is process of knowledge. Okay. Two is the knower of the body, and three is the super knower of the body. If you understand these three things, you become fully realized. So one can understand that this body is matter. It can be analyzed with its 24 elements. The body is the gross manifestation, and the subtle manifestation is the mind and the psychological effects. And the symptoms of life are the interactions of these features. But over and above this, there is the soul, and there is also the supersoul. The soul and the supersoul are two. This is the last paragraph of the last verse of purport in chapter 13. Yeah. This material world is working by the conjunction of the soul and the 24 material elements. One who can see the constitution of the whole material manifestation as this combination of the soul and the material elements, and can also see the situation of the supersoul, becomes eligible for transfer to the spiritual world. These things are meant for contemplation and for realization, and one should have a complete understanding of this chapter with the help of the spiritual master. So you have the body, the proprietor of the body, or the individual soul, and the friend of the individual soul, meaning the supersoul. Right? So this 13th chapter is very important if you're interested in liberation from material illusion. And now it's Isopanisad, this mantra 10 is going to, in the purport, it's going to discuss the results derived from the culture of knowledge. So the culture of knowledge are these 18 points that we're going to discuss now. So there's culture of knowledge, and then by that you become qualified to understand the difference between the body and the soul, and then the difference between the individual soul and the super soul, and then understand Bhagavan Krishna, who's the origin of the material nature, knowledge, body, individual soul, and super soul. Then you're qualified to go back to Godhead. So number one is Amanditvan, humility. Knowledge without humility is worth, how much is this? 0. Knowledge without humility is worth 0. Therefore, the first point of developing knowledge is to become humble. Yes. That's called, Lord Chaitanya said, you should put this mantra like a garland around your neck and wear it the rest of your life. Chinadapi sunichena tarorapi saistana mani namani dena kirtaniya sadar. Because without this, whatever you achieve in life, it's worth 0. So one should become a perfect gentleman and perfect lady and learn to give proper respect to others. So what should parents be teaching their kids? How to go on the internet and associate with nonsense people? Or how to give proper respect, first to mother and father, then to elders, then to spiritual people, devotees, and then to gurus and sadhus, and then to Bhagavan Krishna. If the child does not have respect for the parents, I can guarantee you they will not develop respect for God. No, they have to, yes. Parents have to be good examples for the kids. Well, if they see this parents, just like I remember one thing that shocked me when I was a kid. Because I would see my father, you know, every Sunday he'd force everyone to drink a little bit of whiskey. Because that was a sign of manhood. I hated doing that. But that was my father. I understood that, you know, I didn't argue about it. I was too young to. But one time I saw one of my cousin, like uncles, come to our house in the middle of the day, and I was there alone. And he said, "Where's the whiskey cabinet?" I was like shocked. Why is he asking me? Because it was only like on Sunday that they would take it out, and there would be like a toast and everything. And he's asking me on the weekday, on the afternoon. And I showed him where it was, and he immediately took it and he started drinking, you know. And even though I was so young, I realized there's something wrong with him. This is not something you do, you know, on a weekday. It was part of some ritual at the Sunday dinner, you know, and it was not meant for getting drunk, you know. It was meant for, you know, making the toast, you know. So, some years later, he died of cancer, that cousin uncle. He was a drunkard, you know. But even without knowing all those things, I felt there was something strange about this, that he did that, you know, in that afternoon. So, you see, even though my father, you know, would make me drink some also, but out of respect, I would listen what he said. He's my father, right? But when I saw my cousin uncle do that, I lost respect for him. Because I could see it was not part of any ritual thing. It was not meant for, let's say, training the kids to be respectful or training them. It was an act of desperation on his part. Number 2, one should not pose himself as a religionist simply for name and fame. Right? So this is again Trinada pi sunichena. One should be more humble than the straw on the street. One should be more tolerant than the tree, and one should be ready to respect others, even those that don't respect you. And one should not seek to be honored for rendering service to Krishna. So that's what the second one is. One should not not pose himself as a religionist simply for name and fame. Number 3, one should not become a source of anxiety to others by the actions of his body, by the thoughts of his mind, or by his words. Now, these sound like good things, right? If you just follow the first 3 things, you become a genuinely good person. But in material life, the motive for action is usually intimidation. When you're intimidated or scared, you do things. When you're not intimidated or scared, you take shelter like Sugriva did in sense gratification. Is that right? When everything seemed all right, his brother had been killed. He got his brother's wife. He had his wife. So what did he do?
He was completely inebriated. He was surrounded by...
Yeah, he was drinking. He was intoxicated.
He forgot the promise he has made to Lord Ram.
And he broke his promise to Lord Ram, right?
Ram asked him to collect the army and everything for 4 months because it was monsoon season. And 4 months had already...
He didn't do anything.
He did nothing.
He did nothing. He just you know, went into a drunken stupor and sense gratification, right? You see.
And then Lakshman is...
But you know, you see, Ram waited. He was saying it. He just waited. You know. Then he realized, unless he does something, nothing's going to change. So they threatened to kill him, and then you know, immediately he woke up. Right. So you see, we should not become a source of anxiety either by our actions of the body, or by the thoughts of the mind, or by the words. So the worst is words, when you threaten people. You know, I'm going to kill you, or I'm going to do this. You know, you scare people. That is a sin. Scaring people is a sin. And it's a serious sin. You know. But everything in the material world functions on the basis of intimidation. Just like the IRS will tell you, if you don't pay your taxes, we're going to seize your bank account. We're going to, you know, force your employer to pay us every month so much money. They're going to do, you know, we'll sell your house, whatever, you know. We'll seize your car. We'll seize your watch. We'll seize your smartphone. No, anything else. Take my car. No, take my car, don't the smartphone, right? So, you see, intimidation is the way things get done in the material world. Number 4, one should learn forbearance in the face of provocation from others. This is a big word, forbearance. What does that mean? Forbearance is a tolerance, but it goes even beyond tolerance somewhat. Forbearance means, it's just like this. When the mother is having, you know, birth pains, right? So she doesn't say, you know, abort the baby. I can't stand this. No, she forbears.
So it means she tolerates, but even more than tolerates, she's willing to remain very patient and not react in any way. Let's look up the word forbearance in the dictionary. Let's see how they... What? Patient, patient, that's the key. That's forbearance, very patient. In other words, a person knows that every problem will be solved as time goes by, because people will die, people will get old, people go to jail, whatever. Every problem will be solved, right? So if you can just forbear, and how do you do that? You can only do that if your main interest in life is Krishna consciousness. It's not that you just have to suffer and be patient. If your main interest in life is Krishna consciousness, then your mind is taken off of the pain. Just like there's a saying, the tongue always goes to the tooth that hurts. Is that true? Right? So the mind always goes to that person or that thing that's causing you distress. And because of that, your mind goes away from who? Krishna. So the only way you can develop forbearance, patient tolerance of an unsavory situation, is if your mind is totally engrossed in Krishna consciousness. You can't do it otherwise. I'm telling you right now. That's why you read the newspaper every day. During the divorce proceedings in the courthouse in Kansas City, the husband drew a gun and killed his wife and the judge, and his wife's lawyer. Have you ever read headlines like that? What? No. No, they don't have the metal detectors outside the courtroom, so they usually get shot outside while they're waiting to get into the courtroom. So you understand, these things happen every day in the United States because there's no forbearance, patient tolerance of a distressful situation. So the only way you can control your mind so it doesn't become impatient and intolerant and lack forbearance is if it's engaged with Krishna fully. So, just like today I was asked a question, I said, how can you improve attention? You know, let's say you're listening in a class, but your mind is going here, your mind is going there. Or you're trying to chant your rounds, your mind is going here, your mind is going there. 2nd Canto, 9th chapter, 33rd, actually it's the 34th verse. 2nd Canto, 9th chapter, 34th verse. What does it say? It says that anything that takes your attention away from Krishna is Maya, illusion. So, that is the solution to the problem. This verse says, this is one of the 4 nutshell verses of the Bhagavatam. O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. No, it is my illusory energy, that reflection which appears in the darkness. So, anything that takes your mind away from Krishna is illusion. So, if you have a coworker that's giving you a lot of trouble, and you're always thinking about getting badla, revenge on your coworker, what is that? That's illusion. That's Maya. It's anything that takes your mind away from Krishna is an illusion. And it'll only get you in trouble. So, if you can chant your rounds attentively in the morning, you'll be able to focus your mind the rest of the day. And if you cannot chant your rounds, if you can't finish your rounds early in the morning, and all day long, and in the middle of the Sunday feast, you're chanting your rounds, sitting in the class, chanting. That's not chanting. Those are not good rounds. That's not permitted. In fact, that's nonsense. That means this person has no control of their schedule. Therefore, they're coming to the temple on a Sunday night, sitting in the class, chanting their rounds. which means they're not chanting. They're not focusing on the holy name. Or they're standing outside. Yeah, well, yeah, I really, you're right. You know. And what about that? Well, yeah, that's also. How about, yeah, well, the class is almost over. We're waiting for it. Do you think that's chanting? That's not chanting. That's the ninth offense against the holy name. Inattention while chanting. Chanting is something focused, completely focused. Doesn't matter, closed eyes or open eyes, but it's focused. You're not diverted to anything else. And the best way is when it's early in the morning where there's less diversions going on. Say. Okay, so one should learn forbearance even in the face of provocation from others. So I want you all to notice who is chanting on a Sunday night during the class. Don't say anything. Just keep a mental note. You know that person is not really, chanting. That's just a show. They're trying to chant, but it's just a show. It's not real. Because how can they chant in an atmosphere like that? There's music going on, there's kids running around. Arti's going to start, It's not possible. Diverted, yeah. What, they had the whole day to chant? They have to chant, during the class on a Sunday night? That doesn't make sense, does it? Okay, number 5. One should learn to avoid duplicity in his dealings with others. What does duplicity mean? Yeah, in other words, the tongue doesn't have a bone, therefore you can twist it any way you want. You can say something or mean something else, or you can say one thing 1 minute and then say the opposite next minute with the same tongue, because it doesn't have a bone, so it can move around. Yeah. So duplicity is cheating. Saying one thing, meaning another. Just like on every dollar it says, "In God we trust," right? That's the theme of the United States, right? The government. Is that true? Is it true when they're selling armaments to Saddam Hussein and to Iran? They're both having a war with each other. The United States selling armaments to both. They're selling armaments through Israel to Iran, and selling armaments directly to Saddam Hussein. So that's called duplicity. It's a double standard, right? No, not only they're earning money and getting their strategy successful. Their strategy is let the Muslims kill each other. So they fund both sides, and they encourage both sides. Give them the weapons to kill each other. And 1 million men died in the Iran-Iraq war. 1 million men. Okay, so one should learn to avoid duplicity in his dealings with others. In other words, you have to be straightforward. You have to be honest. Right? The opposite of duplicity is honesty.
But Prabhu, it has been found that straightforward people are less liked in the society nowadays.
They are what?
They are less liked in the society nowadays.
Who?
The people who speak to and have...
Yes, in Kali Yuga, if you go in a public place and speak the truth, people come with sticks to beat you. If you go in a public place and speak lies, they all come and say, no, that makes sense. Yes, that's good. Yeah. We should drink more wine. It's good for the heart. There's scientific studies that say drinking wine is good for the heart. It has, phytonutrients in it. And then we should not stop eating meat. We should eat a little less meat, that's all, because we need the protein. I just read an article yesterday. They came out saying that, they've been saying this for some time, that processed meats like sausage and things, they definitely cause cancer, right? And then, so a big nutritionist came out and said, well, that's if you eat too much, but if you only eat 2 ounces a day, that's all right. Yeah, okay, what are you going to say?
One man had a wine in the glass, and it puts some worm in that insect.
Worm.
Yeah.
A worm.
You can say ant.
An insect.
It immediately got killed,
It died.
it died. And he asked, what do you understand from this? And one man said, it is dangerous, it should not be here. Another man said,
It's good for you.
yeah, it is good for
Kills
you.
the germs.
It will get the germs of your body.
Yeah. 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 That's called Vedavadarata. Vedavadarata. Yeah, it's only going to kill the germs. It's not going to kill you, right? Yeah. 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 Okay. So, like I said, we're going to spend some time on this 10th mantra. So we'll stop right here. Why? Because early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise, right? So you should all take rest before 10 o'clock at night. That way you can wake up easily, 4 o'clock, and finish all your rounds before Arti at 5:30. Is that what you're doing, Prabhu? You're trying to do it.
I did 13, that is the maximum that I could do before Mangala.
Okay.
But I want to do all 16 before Mangala. That's the
Yes. I do all my rounds before Mangalarti.
Yeah, I'm trying to emulate your...
No, I'm just trying to follow Prabhupada's example. He was chanting 64 before Mangalarti. No, he would only sleep 2 hours a night. That's all. And he would wake up and he would translate and write his books. He would also chant. He's
Since you are our guru, we should wake up before you and we sleep after you. That is the...
then you become my guru. Then I have to follow you. That's all right. That's all right. We should always follow the best example. All right. Okay, so we'll stop here. And, well, I guess we continue Monday. Hari Bol. Glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Oh, yeah. Let's go over the homeworks. They're due Monday. Excel sheet of the difference between Bhagavan Krishna and us. And
Shukram in various categories.
we take mantra 8 and start with the general heading, Paribhu. Lord is the greatest of all. And then all the subheadings. You know, he is omnipotent, and he's unembodied, and so forth. And then you take the subheadings of those and try and fill it out. To understand, this one mantra is sufficient in many ways to understand who Krishna is.
Do we have any page limits?
What?
Do we have any word limits?
No limits. This is Ananta. No limit. Haribol. Hare Krishna. Because we're gonna participate in a project. The project is we're gonna produce the scientific knowledge of God with a challenge. Let someone prove that Krishna is not God. Once we give the scientific explanation of God. Okay? Haribol. So we have a class project. I'm going to buy it tomorrow.